In this video, I'm going to describe how to examine the hands so that you get the maximum clinical information possible. A few preliminaries. The first thing you need is a pillow upon which your patient can rest their hands in order to ensure their comfort. Second, when you go to introduce yourself to the patient, make sure you don't offer to shake their hands. If you're directed to examine a patient's hands, it's quite likely they may have pain in their hands, and if you offer to shake the patient's hand, you may cause them discomfort, which you shouldn't really do. Like any clinical examination, you need to start by inspecting your patient, and that includes the whole patient. So, for example, you might want to look at the patient's face to see if they have any Cushingoid features in keeping with steroid use, or alternatively, they may have features in keeping with a diagnosis such as scleroderma. Other things you may observe are signs such as thyroid eye disease, which can be associated with signs such as thyroid acropathy. Most cases you'll see in an examination will be accounted for by a small number of clinical conditions. The commonest in an exam is probably going to be rheumatoid arthritis. These patients may have proximal joint swelling, they may have finger spindling, they may have ulnar deviation, and they may have rheumatoid nodules on their elbows. Other signs that may be encountered include wasting of the small muscles of the hand, sometimes with dorsal guttering. Things such as motor neurone disease or T1 related damage can cause this. Psoriasis is another common condition in which you may need to examine a patient's hands. Patients with psoriasis may exhibit nail pitting, and they can have damage to the terminal interphalangeal joints. They also have a scaly rash on their elbows. Patients may also present with osteoarthritis. Here you can see Heberdin's nodes at the joints, and again these patients may have muscle wasting in their hands. Other signs that can lead to a clinical examination of the hand include ulnar nerve palsy, in which patients have a claw hand with muscle wasting with sparing of the thenar eminence. And finally, you may also see patients with clubbing. The next step is to ensure your patient is fully exposed so you can examine the hands properly. In this case, I have to ask my patient to kindly remove the splint and also to roll up the sleeves above the elbow. You won't have finished examining a patient's hand until you've ensured you've looked at their elbows. Thank you very much. Now have a look at the dorsum of the hand, first simply inspecting, and then ask your patient to turn their hands over so you can see the palms. Observe the hands carefully, looking for a purpuric rash that may be in keeping with something like steroid therapy, tightening of the skin as is seen in scleroderma, and so on. Also, ask the patient to flex their elbows so you can have a look at the skin on the back of their elbows. You may see signs in keeping with psoriasis or rheumatoid nodules. Next, inspect your patient's hands, looking to see if there's generalized muscle wasting or wasting of the thenar eminence. This can happen for a large number of reasons. Thenar eminence wasting, though, is commonly encountered in median nerve palsy. Next, ask your patient to turn their hands over again and inspect all the joints. Here, you're looking for any swelling or anything that's obviously uncomfortable for the patient. You're also looking for any deformity or evidence of joint enlargement, such as Heberdin's nodes. Additionally, inspect your patient's nails for pitting, onycholysis, and clubbing. Next, palpate the hand, looking for any joint swelling or any Dupuytren's contracture. So I'm just going to squeeze your hand in various places. Is that sore at all?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Can you turn your hands over? There you go. Okay, that's it. Okay, thank you. Next, check the patient's tone in their hand. Are you able to move your hand easily at the wrist? Thank you. Next, you want to assess your patient's sensation in the hand. And it's important to do this bearing in mind the branches of the ulnar nerve, the radial nerve, and the median nerve. Claudette, I'm just going to touch your hands in various places, and it should feel soft, a bit like that. Can you say yes every time you feel me touch your hands with this piece of tissue? Can you feel that? And there?
Yes.
Okay, and there?
Yes.
And there?
Yes.
And there?
Yes.
And there?
Yes.
Does it feel the same both sides, and does it feel normal?
It was just a little bit number this side.
Okay, I'll just try that again. Can you feel that? And that?
Yeah, it's just a bit less sensitive on that side.
And that?
Yes.
Okay. Next, it's important to check that your patient has good functional use of their hands. Patients can have quite deformed hands, but still be able to do quite delicate manoeuvres with them. In this case, I'm going to ask Claudette if she can use a pen just to do some writing with. Can you have a go at that for me, Claudette? Thank you very much. That's perfect. Thank you. It's also other options. You could see if the patient can undo a button or comb their hair. Finally, we need to examine the motor function in your patient's hands. To do this, we're going to do some very simple manoeuvres. So I'm going to start by asking the patient to squeeze my hands and just test how well they can make a grip. Claudette, can you squeeze my fingers as tight as you can? Thank you very much. And just relax. Next, can you make a pincer movement with your thumb and fingers? And can you do it with each finger in turn as fast as you can? That's good. Okay, thank you. Next, I'm going to ask you to push your thumb up against mine, if that's okay. Thank you very much. And on this side. Next, you want to ask your patient to make a prayer sign. Can you copy this movement, Claudette? Thank you. And this movement. Thank you very much. Finally, we're just going to take the patient's pulse. Then you want to thank the patient for their time, and you're done. Thank you, Claudette.
Thank you.